our first speaker, our first set of talks this morning are going to be on the theme of responding to COVID-19. So I think it goes without saying that one of the great challenges that we've all been facing globally around the world is the coronavirus pandemic, the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic. And so our first speaker, I am so honored and thrilled to introduce her. So Linda has been a part of BioSummit. I forget how many years it's been at BioSummit, Linda, for you. Is this your fourth year or is this your third year? Have you been to every BioSummit? Okay, you've been to 3, yeah. Um, and actually, yeah, Barry, we should unmute Linda as well. But basically, Linda, I think, is just one of the real great leaders that we have in our global community and our movement. She was part of our inaugural class of Community Bio Fellows. And in this past year, even, she already was doing incredible work in her home country of Ecuador, but in the past year has really taken on a very prominent role in her country's leadership, has been assisting the government with their COVID-19 response, was doing grassroots work, and then was elevated to a position within the government. And, you know, she's been on CNN International, featured on like the covers of all kinds of magazines. And I mean, she's really just been doing such phenomenal work. And I think it's been really getting well-deserved recognition for that work. And so I just couldn't think of a better person to help open the third and final day of BioSummit than one of our very own community members and a really just important leader for our movement and for Ecuador and for the world. So everybody, can you all please give some snaps, some love, some emojis for Linda Guaman?
Thank you so much. I need to deep breath because I need to host.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There we go. Sorry about that, Linda.
Yeah, I don't know how this happened. I'm gonna tell you today this story about how I ended up helping the government, because a few months ago, I was not in a public position. On the contrary, I was being critical of the authorities, mainly on Twitter, because they were doing really bad. I mean, they're still doing bad sometimes. But this talk is about how Twitter led me from publicly fighting with authorities and with the mayor of the city to be working with him now. Just let me share my screen. I have just a couple of slides to talk about that. Okay, so yeah, as you can see here, I'm a technical coordinator, COVID-19. That sounds so fancy. But the real thing is how something like me, I'm a food engineer, guys. I'm not MD, I'm microbiologist. I was doing synthetic biology until a couple of months. So I ended up working in this public position, mainly because I've been fighting with authorities on Twitter. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, so in February, the concern about COVID-19 began. And I started tweeting about how we can help, and maybe we should think about a way to doing testing in Ecuador. In February, we didn't have any confirmed cases of COVID-19. So we were like, it's gonna arrive. I mean, I was for sure that the virus is now. The authorities were like really calm, like saying, okay, maybe we should do some testing. And I started tweeting about maybe we should do this and organizing universities and my colleagues about how the researchers can come together to help. So those were my first tweets. And then I tagged the health minister, Catalina. Sorry about my Twitter in Spanish. I started tagging her, asking, okay, I would like to meet you because I have a huge proposals about the universities and all the research laboratories in the country. We can help doing some COVID-19 diagnostics. And I have wonderful followers in the country. They tag the health minister, they share. So this kind of went viral over Twitter in my country. And I ended up getting some phone call asking me for joining her. I just have a meeting in Guayaquil. By that time, Guayaquil was like the epicenter of the pandemic in the country. So this is me with the health minister. she called me. I remember she called me Thursday asking me, okay, you need to be here tomorrow in Guayaquil because I want to listen to you. Because I was just tagging her every single day over Twitter, asking for just give me 5 minutes with you. And I had to buy my ticket. I had to pay from my own pocket, and I just went to Guayaquil. I remember she asked for that picture to be taken. And what for me was surprising that she was totally open. I mean, can you imagine to get an appointment with the health minister in the middle of a pandemic? She was so busy, but she was open to talk to me just because I was tagging her on Twitter. And I was so happy because she said, okay, yeah, you can help. I was asking for 2 things. Give us access to the biological samples because we want to sequence the virus genome. And also, can universities help the government doing some COVID-19 testing because we can help in the qPCR or whatever molecular technique you want to use. And she said yes to both of those requests. So I was so happy after that meeting. But then what happened, it was like 10 days after, she didn't reply any of my messages. She didn't reply the phone. And I started thinking about maybe she just took that picture because she just wanted to say, oh, I listened to her. And that was it. And then we have so many wonderful teams around the country, laboratories, infrastructure. We just need to be heard. And I started organizing in a formal way, universities over a document. And I had some meetings with researchers about how many samples can we process every single day. And later I knew that she just quit, which was so sad for me because I lost all the contacts I had with her. And then after a few days, I had a meeting. The vice president of the country asked me for joining him in a meeting to let them know what was my plan about. And that was me sitting next to him in the middle of the pandemic, no social distance. That was embarrassing, but that was the only way I have some voice to be heard. And I used that voice to fight against private laboratories because they didn't want us to help because the university were doing this job for free. And then with the new minister, what happened that he ended up being some kind of friend of my boss in the university. So I asked him in Twitter, okay, we all the researchers wrote an open letter. Here you have the open letter. This is the list of universities, the list of laboratories, the equipments that we have, the technical assistance that we have, the capacity we have. Please just let us to help. And it was nice because also the media joins to researchers and university trying to push authorities for us to be heard. And this is one of the media saying that university, we are open to tackle the virus. And finally, the new health minister, also because of the pressure on Twitter, he answered me. He said, okay, we are talking with the authorities and we're gonna find a way to help you guys. Mostly because we were just pushing every single day over Twitter. And I'm so proud because after this fight and we organized in a formal way with universities, we knew that we are mostly research laboratories, and for diagnostics, you have different protocols. We were open to allow our laboratories to work with biological samples. So yeah, on Think About Happening, they grant us this access to universities. This is a new about the first 6 universities that they got the permission to perform COVID-19 diagnostics. And I'm so proud of this because now when you can access the health minister website, you can see the list. This is the different status in country we have with universities and laboratories performing COVID-19 diagnostics mostly for free. We had the first university in the Amazon jungle doing COVID-19 testing in population. So that was fantastic for us. And now we have all over the country, in the coast region, in the jungle, in the highlands, performing COVID-19 testings for a government mainly. And then I got what I was trying to do since the beginning, helping with diagnosing. But then also the fake news, that was something I was also trying to fight against because they were all over the internet. And this is a post that I did on March 22nd. I was here criticizing the mayor of the city in Ecuador, because he was sharing some misinformation about, like, you can avoid the virus if you drink hot chocolate, or if you have a lemonade. Maybe if you shave your hair, you can avoid the virus. And for me, that was so, I felt so shame because he is our authority and he was misleading. So I decided to tweet about he later did his post. You can see here. But that was the first time I talked on Twitter with the mayor of the city. I was criticizing him. And then 2 months later, he called me asking me for being the health secretary of the capital. Because of my job in universities for COVID-19 diagnostics, I said no, because I didn't feel prepared for being a health secretary of the capital in the middle of the pandemic when I'm a food engineer, although I'm a microbiologist, but I say no. But I accepted a position to advise the health minister in the diagnostics. So that's what I'm doing now. This is a new about me joining the team in the Quito Council. This was a tough decision for me because it was mainly stop all the research and my job in university, and I accept this position because I really believe that I can help the city. I'm gonna share a little bit of the results. I joined the city council at the end of June. By that time, they have performed around 2,000 COVID-19 testing. And now on October 11th, we've done 85,000 COVID-19 tests. We have a huge improvement. You can see here all over the months. Now we are doing, I mean, I know it's not a huge number in your countries, maybe not, but here in the city, we are doing 1,500 COVID-19 PCR tests daily, which is a huge win for us. And also that we have universities also helping us. So for me, this is a lesson about how you can join all the forces and this bio movement, being a bio leader, join the community, join the researchers to tackle the virus, and also being able to be heard. That was something really useful for me. I know this is maybe an anecdote. Maybe if you tweet in your country to your authorities, you're never gonna hear back about them. In my case, I use the platform I already have from previous years to talk to the authorities and to organize the academia in Ecuador. We are performing in total over 3,000 daily tests in university, mostly for free. And I'm so proud about being able to stop my research in my life and also decide to help the city. I'm in trouble now because sometimes I don't know how to handle these public positions. Sometimes I get in trouble because I keep criticizing the authorities, although I'm part of them now. But my biggest lesson was take all the learnings I being able to have, mostly from bio summits, previous bio summits, and from the bio fellow. I remember one biggest one was the storytelling. I remember how to be seated in front of the city councilors. They are no science-related persons, and try to combine them about why it's important to increase the number of testing, why it's important to do molecular testing, not serologicals. And I remember me ended up at the end of the day crying with my husband, saying, this is not for me. But now I'm proud about science is something that is a huge part of our lives now. And I just want to let you know that if you're really involved with a cause, then you need to go for it. Even putting a whole your life, but for me, it has been extremely, I don't know how to even put in words, because being able to help the last couple of months and being able to see the impact of doing massive or kind of massive testing has saved a lot of lives. So I'm beyond grateful for all the opportunities I have in the bioswimming, all the takeaways I have, all the learning, because I've been using them every single day now as a public figure in the country. The last slide is something I keep fighting for in the country, is about, because they criticize us a lot and they cut the funding. And this is my Twitter account and this is my email, just in case you need some help sometime about how to tackle or how to try to help people using Twitter or your social. That I know I have just 10 minutes. I'd rather to hear your questions. Thank you so much for this huge opportunity.
Everyone, can we give some snaps and some love and some affection for Linda? Thank you so much. That's really spectacular. Why don't we take just one quick question, if anybody has a quick question for Linda before we move on, just because again, it's your story is so powerful, Linda, and I think also, you know, for so many that are in the community, you know, you are already such an inspiration. And I think, you know, hearing your story and also knowing that this community has also helped you and has helped to support you in your journey, I think is also really inspiring. So we can take a quick question if anybody has one. You can raise your hand if you have a question for Linda. Otherwise, I can ask you, Linda, very quickly, you know, what is the next step for you? So now that you've been in this role, you know, obviously we're still in the middle of the pandemic. So how are things going, and how do you see the next, you know, few months playing out for you?
So 1 month ago, I received a call from one friend of mine asking me for be a candidate to vice president, because we are in election time now. I was thinking about accepting that the VP candidacy. I say no, because I don't feel prepared for that. I need to be responsible. So if I want to pursue a career, some sort of career in politics, I need to prepare myself. So for me, the next step is maybe to have some formal education about science diplomacy, science politics, and also in the city. Now we are purchasing 100,000 more COVID-19 tests for the next months. And we are trying to combine antigen testing, because I'm super fan about this low cost rapid antigen tests. They are super sensible, so we are trying to combine PCR tests with antigens. And we are also doing some serological surveillance in the country to be prepared for the eventual vaccine we have. I'm also talking with different vaccine and pharmaceutical companies in the world to be able to have some vaccines, maybe, crossing my fingers. So I don't know how this is gonna end up. I see myself in the next year working in the government, but I don't know what's gonna happen next, and I'm fine with that.
Linda, I think you can see from the chat too, I think people here would be really excited if you were the vice president. This is part of what the message I'm getting here from the chat. And also, you know, I think at least in the United States, this is something that we feel, that I see all the time. We do not have enough scientists in politics. Like in the United States, it's a travesty. I think we have 2 people with PhDs in our Congress who know anything or have any kind of professional training, at least in science. So, you know, I think what you are doing right now is just so incredibly inspiring. And I actually, just in closing, will share too. You know, when Linda was part of the Community Bio Fellows program, Linda, you were actually in my pod. It was you, and then also Isis and others. So it just blows my mind to see just how far you've come even in the past year. And you're such an inspiration for so many people, for certainly all of us, but so many people in your country and around the world. So we are all behind you. We all support you however we can. And we're here for you, and we're so excited for what's ahead. So Linda, thank you so much again for being here and sharing some words. And please engage with us on Slack and so on going forward. But everybody, can we please just give some huge love and applause and snaps for Linda Guaman? Thank you so, so much, Linda. Yes. Oh my gosh.